Very good evening to you on this first day of August 2023. Trust that you're doing well, and many thanks indeed for joining us right here at KUTV Primetime News. We have a lot in store for you. I want to tell you where the president has been today. He has been up and about in the CS's performance contracts, as well as receiving the report on education reforms. We have those stories, of course, and so much more after the headlines.
Ruto warns government employees against embezzlement of funds meant for government projects, says no room for such. Interviews for the DPP position begins. Lawyer Dunstan Omari among 7 hopefuls interviewed today. Ruto congratulates CBC task force for addressing students' concerns in the latest report on education reforms. And 2 killed, Hindi MCA and 10 others among those injured in a suspected terror attack in Lamu.
Welcome to the broadcast. Stevens is our sign language interpreter tonight. My name is ODIDA, and they're live on our social media platforms, that is on Facebook and YouTube at KUTV_Kenya. We also have a recorded interview in store for you later on in this bulletin, a conversation that we had earlier today with the Third Way Alliance party leader, that is Ekuru Okot. But first, we begin. Now, interviews for the 15 candidates shortlisted for the position of Director of Public Prosecutions kicked off today at the Public Service Commission offices in Nairobi. Among the 7 candidates interviewed today were renowned defense lawyer Dunstan Omari and former IEBC Commissioner Thomas Letangule. The interviews will resume tomorrow for the remaining 8 candidates.
The race to replace the party Director of Public Prosecutions, Nordin Haji, officially kicked off today, 7 of the shortlisted candidates appearing before the Select Committee. Among those interviewed today were Thomas Letangule, Jacinta Nyaboke, Victor Muli, Taib Ali, Tabitha Wanyama, David Kiplagat, and Dunstan Omari. First on the grill was Thomas Letangule, who is known for his stunt as IEBC Commissioner and his unceremonious exit in 2016. Jacinta Nyaboke served as senior assistant to the DPP in Kisumu and Kiambu counties and currently serves as the deputy director, the Department of Offences Against the Person at the Office of the Directorate of Criminal Investigations. Victor Vinyamuli is the current Deputy Director in the Department of County Affairs and Regulatory Services at the Office of the DPP and was heavily involved in extradition efforts for lawyers Paul Gisheru and Philip Kipkoech Bet, who are then wanted by the ICC. Taib Ali Taib, the former Mombasa mayor, was appointed by former DPP Nordin Haji as special prosecutor and has been leading the prosecution against suspects of graft in the Arod and Kimwarel corruption case. Tabitha Wanyama Ouya currently serves as the head of Civil Rights Division of the ODPP and is the acting deputy director of public prosecution. David Kiplagat Ruto currently serves as the director, legal services at the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. Last on the grill was lawyer Dunstan Omari, who is a renowned defense lawyer currently involved in the case against controversial Pastor Paul Mackenzie and other high-profile cases as well. Tomorrow will be the turn for the remaining 8 contenders, after when the selection panel will settle on 3 out of the 15. The names will be forwarded to President William Ruto, who will then recommend for 1 out of the 3 for vetting in Parliament before final approval and swearing in. Munene Weru, KUTV.
Now, interviews for the 15 I beg your pardon. The government is looking forward to rolling out more reforms in the education sector in order to achieve quality and transformative education accessible to all the students in the country. President William Ruto has underlined the government's commitment to providing learning model which catalyzes the economy. This he said after receiving a report by the Presidential Working Party on educational reforms at State House, Nairobi.
The Presidential Working Party on Educational Reforms, led by their chairperson, Professor Raphael Munavu, has today presented to the President a final report on recommendations seeking to transform the learning sector.
The summary of the findings and recommendations. I am satisfied that the Working Party has used its time well, consulted thoroughly throughout the country and beyond, applied their expertise and technical capacity, and fully met their terms of reference.
The report tables a number of proposals on how to enhance learning activities in the country by leveraging on resources and technology in delivering quality education.
Because on one end is the money we are investing in education. On the other end is the plan to make sure that the money we invest, we get value for it by making sure that the human capital we are training meaningfully contributes to the country and justifies the huge investment we are making.
President Ruto, while expressing satisfaction on the proposed reforms, underlined the government's commitment to providing transformative education, which catalyzes the economy by exposing graduates to job opportunities. Ruto noted that the government has already showed up implementation of some proposed reforms.
That we were implementing the recommendations as they were coming. So I think if there is any demonstration that we are committed and that we are persuaded that it's the right thing to do, I think you can pick it up from what we have done already. We have already implemented your recommendations on CBC. We have recommended, you have implemented your recommendations on the new education funding model.
Other educational reforms forming part of the Presidential Working Party's report include construction of more institutions of higher learning in 52 constituencies, which has no universities or colleges, availing more fund for innovation, enhancing funding for feeding program, and making education accessible to all students in the country.
Wakati tunaweka rasilimali zetu katika kusomesha watoto wa Kenya, vilevile ni lazima tuwe na mpango wakitoka shuleni, wakitoka college, wakitoka university, ni nini watafanya. Mimi nimefurahi tena mwaka huu tuko na mpango mzima, mpango kamili ya vile tutashughulikia ajira ya vijana wetu, nafasi za kazi na vilevile mchango wao.
In efforts to expand job market for graduates, President Ruto noted that the government has plans to partner with private entities to provide paid internships for students. Ruto also announced that the government has unveiled 1 billion shillings intended for motivation of teachers. Joseph Oyomo, KUTV.
Now, cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries and heads of parastatals on Tuesday signed performance contracts at State House in Nairobi, where President William Ruto said that the event will transform government services to emulate developed economies such as Singapore. Ruto has also warned government employees against embezzlement of funds, stating that it will not be business as usual in his government.
In Nairobi State House today, President William Ruto was the man who appeared to be angry during his first signing of performance contracts after he fired a warning to incompetent and ineffective cabinet and principal secretaries.
Many people maybe mistakenly think that it is a ritual, and that is why people resort to the old incompetent excuses that there was traffic, for them not to be in a public, the most important public function.
In the same spirit of performance, President Ruto has also issued a warning to the absent and late cabinet secretaries in today's occasion, terming it ignorance considering the importance of the event.
One lady in one of the roads departments corrupt to the core, to the extent that she could not be transferred by anybody, even by the minister. That is the kind of chronic where corruption has taken us. I hope Mr. Kipchumba Murkomen and Bwana Mbogwa, I hope that lady no longer works for the government of Kenya.
As a wake-up call for corrupt officials, President Ruto has underlined his firm hand of fighting corruption by emphasizing on firing a corrupt employee in the Ministry of Roads and Transport.
Promised that our government would defend the Constitution and constitutionalism, institutionalize issue-based, performance-oriented politics, and implement better our plan. We shall not run away from any of the commitments therein.
While rooting for the Kenya Kwanza's bottom-up transformation agenda, which also include Finance Act, President William Ruto has called for citizens' faith, pledging to fulfill all his campaign promises.
I am very proud today that the interventions that we have taken, though not popular, though very painful, but I want to say here, they have paid off.
While referencing to the achievements of the government so far, including allocation of 50,000 job opportunities for teachers, President Ruto has pledged to continue creating job opportunities for the young people. Lynette Maina, KUTV.
In an effort to combat the cholera outbreak that has affected thousands of people in the country, the Ministry of Health, MOH, has announced that it will initiate a campaign against the disease. According to MOH report, the ministry will launch a 10-day vaccination drive starting this Thursday, the 3rd of March 2023, in 6 counties. MOH aims to reach approximately 1.5 million individuals aged 1 year and above. The counties include Nairobi, Wajir, Marsabit, Homa Bay, Machakos, and Garissa. In a statement released on Monday, the Ministry of Health said it will collaborate with the relevant county governments and other partners, which include World Health Organization, the United Nations Children's Fund, among others. In other news, the government has disbursed 2.8 billion Kenya shillings for the Inua Jamii Cash Transfer Program for July 2023. According to the State Department of Social Protection and Senior Citizen Affairs Principal Secretary Joseph Mutari, an extra 4.3 billion Kenya shillings has additionally been released for the nutrition improvement through cash and health education niche program, which complements the Inua Jamii initiative. Dorothy Musyoka tells us more.
The elderly people have a reason to smile following the government's move to disburse 2.8 billion shillings for the Inua Jamii Cash Transfer Program 2023 and an extra 4.3 billion shillings for the nutrition improvement through cash and health education niche program. The government had in June released 16.7 billion shillings to pay arrears for 8 months from November 2022 to June 2023 after the cries from the elderly for delayed release of the funds by the government. The beneficiaries had also requested for an increase in their monthly cash due to the high cost of living being experienced in the country. The Inua Jamii Cash Transfer Program is meant to benefit the elderly in the society, people living with disabilities, orphans and persons with severe disabilities. Over 1 million beneficiaries will receive 2,000 shillings each from the monthly cash transfer program. Dorothy Musyoka, KUTV.
Now, parents in Uasin Gishu County who were affected by the Finland scholarship scandal that saw the loss of millions of shillings that were meant to airlift 202 students to 3 Finnish universities have today displayed their frustrations in a protest against the embezzlement of funds that were meant for their children's education and accommodation in Finland and Canada, as promised by the county government. The parents have denied claims by the leaders involved that 68 million Kenya shillings have been refunded, saying they will not be in the streets if they had their money. However, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission of Kenya, EACC, has today summoned Uasin Gishu County Senator Jackson Mandago for questioning. And 2 people have been reported dead while 10 others are nursing injuries, among them Hindi MCA James Njaga, following a terror attack that occurred this morning in the Lamu-Mwembeni area along the Lamu-Wiri-Gasan road. In a statement confirming the incident, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration has reported that the attack took place at approximately 7:40 a.m. when the suspected terrorists attacked travelers along Lamu-Gasen Highway at Langola Simba near the border of Lamu and Tana River counties. The number of missing persons is yet to be determined as a combined security operation of elite contingents from the National Police Service and the Kenya Defence Force is currently underway, as well as the search for missing civilians. Now it is 18 minutes past the top of the hour. Allow us to take a very fast short break right here. Of course, we have so much lined up for you, so stay with us.
Kutoka kuwa jamii ya kuhamahama na sasa kujumuisha kilimo katika mitindo yao ya maisha. Kwenye toleo la kaunti ya Narok, hii ni Boresha Kilimo, kwani afya bora ni kilimo bora. Kwani kilimo ndicho huboresha maisha. Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audio-visual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Welcome back. You are still watching KTV Primetime News. I know you'll still hear that. This conversation that I had said that we had earlier today with Third Way Alliance Party Leader Kuru Court. Take a look. Right, you're still watching KTV Primetime News rather. We are in Gigiri, that is the residence of Third Way Alliance Party Leader, that is Kuru Court, and we want to talk about the state of the nation as we had earlier hinted. So karibu sana to KTV. We are glad that you've hosted us today.
It's not my first time actually. I've been there before.
Oh, wonderful. I would say that we here today, we did know that it's actually not your first time.
Yes.
But anyway, I want us to talk about the state of the nation from your standpoint, with everything that is going on in the country, the push and pull between the government and the opposition. How would you describe the political leadership in the country at the moment?
I think the sad thing about the state of our nation today is that the political class is actually playing a very, very bigger role, a much bigger role in pulling the country apart. It is not very clear what they actually want from both sides. If you look at the government side, they say they had a plan for this country. They even gave timelines. For example, on some of the achievements some of them they will achieve within a certain time frame. If it's, for example, the cost of electricity, they said by January this, cost of unga by due time, these jobs will be created by this due time. But now you can see they keep on changing those goalposts. They also told Kenyans. So a lot of their political promises are now coming out to be political lying and political lies. So they're actually not giving the country the hope they sold. They sold a lot of hope, and they made Kenyans actually believe that these guys, having been in government, because they're not newcomers in government. If you look at the deputy president, he's been in provisional administration, so he knows the problem. He has served as a DO in Molo, so he knows the problems of the Mwananchi down there. So in a way, it was like, okay, these are people who understand government, understand the problem of the country, so they'll be able to fix it. President William Ruto, on the other hand, is actually now, surprisingly to many people do not know this, is actually now the longest serving politician in Kenya, than even Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, who they are now fighting. 97? No? 97 is when he was elected, but 1992, he was those youth wingers for KANU. So he has actually served in all the regimes in this country except the Jomo Kenyatta regime, and in very, very senior position. So again, this is a person, I think, who sold this Aslan narrative that, we will form a government of the ordinary people. These days, you don't hear about hustlers. You don't hear about the wheelbarrow guys. You don't hear about the Bamamboga narrative. Those narratives have disappeared. So you can see that is political conmanship on the one hand. On the other hand, the so-called Azimio, they also don't have a plan. If you look at the issues that they're agitating for, starting from election of last year, the Azimio people said, through their leadership, that if they lost the election, they will accept the results. The results came out. They objected to those results. They went to the Supreme Court to challenge the results. They also said publicly that if we will accept the outcome of the Supreme Court, the outcome came. They refused to accept that outcome. Now they called Kenyans to go for maandamano. Property was destroyed. Lives have been lost. They are still busy trying to strike political deals behind the scenes. Maandamano has failed because Kenyans are tired, because maandamano per se, even though it's your right under the Constitution, under Article 37, will not bring down the cost of unga. Now they went to what they are saying, collecting signatures, 15 million signatures, to remove the president out of office. I mean, it's laughable. As a lawyer, this is very, very laughable, because it's a strange animal, alien concept in our Constitution. There is no way in our Constitution that even if you gathered 50 million signatures today, or 55 million of all the Kenyans, that you will remove the president out of office. So they don't want to follow the legal or even political structures that are there in the Constitution, i.e., for example, bring a motion of impeachment in Parliament. Tell Kenyans why this presidency has failed. There is that structure. But instead, you have got one fellow called Raila Odinga, who is masquerading as the leader of opposition, but he is not. And a lot of Kenyans do not know this. The leadership in Parliament is the leader of majority. Then there is a leader of minority. That is the opposition in Parliament. Then you've got the whips. Those are the structures Kenyans said we want. This is how we want to be governed. Kenyans cannot be governed outside. Yes, the people can vote well outside. And Raila is right to voice his concerns. But he also should not be masquerading as the leader of opposition, because he's not. The Constitution doesn't recognize him as such. And that's why you can see they are trying to sneak in their proposal this thing of entrenching the office of the leader of opposition. So politically speaking, you can see that the state of our nation is adversely being affected by the character and nature of the leadership we have. And if you are to deconstruct it further, it now boils down to individuals who are looking after their own personal interests and not the interest of the country. Because as Kenyans are being called to go for maandamano, or we are going to pass the Finance Act by the government, it is actually the common man who is suffering. I have said this many times in various forums, that one of the blessings in disguise for this country is for Ruto to be president. Yeah? And Ruto's presidency, in my honest opinion, provides an opportunity for Kenyans now to begin to interrogate political promises. Because here is a person who came with populism, lots of money, mobilized the country, been a deputy president for 10 years, projected himself as somebody who actually knows the problems of this country, the problems of the small man, the mamamboga, the boda, the mkokoteni riders. So that's how he projected himself. So now, with him now at the helm of government, it is time for Kenyans to begin, and this is a debate we cannot finish today, and I hope KUTV can keep on carrying this debate until Kenyans become wiser, in terms of really interrogate the ideals or the ideas or the proposals that people put on your table. Forget about tribe. Forget about money where somebody comes from. Forget about being a big name, because Ruto's been a big name politically, but now he's in charge. But you can see the excuses they keep on giving. Oh, we inherited a dilapidated economy. The coffers were empty, but you're also not telling us how were the coffers empty. For example, when you say that 35 billion was stolen within in a matter of minutes. Surely, I mean, if this is money from treasury, these people, like they say, mitahani wanatubeba ufala sana, because ama wanatupima akili. So if you tell us that 35 billion just disappeared, kwa nini hewa? It's not 30 air that just evaporates. Surely this money must have left account A to account B. Trace it for us. Let us know exactly who took this money. So the opportunity now we have as a country is to begin to actually who actually offers themselves to lead this country. And I hope this is a debate now going forward, going towards 2027, we can. When we came up with Punguza Mizigo Amendment Bill, we proposed on how to reduce the cost of governance in this country, including lowering the cost of living. But, we were fought because, hey, who is a Kura Okot, who is Third Way Alliance Kenya, just another small party the other day. But our ideas were going to provide solutions to this kind of, especially in terms of corruption, cost of government, reducing the gobbling of billions by politicians who are actually not offering solutions. We had all those solutions. The quicker, the faster prosecution of thieves of public money. We had that proposal. Question of commissions. One of the things now that is really almost tearing this party apart is the obsession with the IBC. We had proposed this IBC can be part-time. I mean, I have chaired a university council for 3 years. I was chairman of JQAT as a chairman. And I used to work out of the country and fly in, chair my meetings and go back. There's no big deal about running an institution. We are only making it such a big deal because it's the few political class that have an interest on how they can continue stealing from this country and undermining the people of Kenya. So even commissions, we had made a proposal, let them be part-time. Not more than 5, between 3 to 5 commissioners. I mean, in other countries, they just get an A4. They say, okay, ODIDA, are you interested in running? Which position? They print your name there. People vote on you as they go to work. Like in Kenya, election is becoming a matter of life and death. And this is partly what is steering our country, because now we're in this state we find ourselves in because some people lost an election and they have refused to accept it. They either want to be in government. So for them, whether the country goes apart or not, it's about their interests. And this is really sad, because it's now affecting everything. It's affecting the economy. It's even affecting our own social relations with each other. It's balkanizing the country, because the truth for the matter is, you will hear Deputy President Gachagua unashamedly talk about sisi watu wa mlima. So what? So what if you're nyinyi ni watu wa mlima? Why do you keep on dangling that on our face as if we don't know where you come from? Right. Should all of us now dangle the regions we come from? What does that mean for the country? It actually divides the country. And sadly, this is from the top leadership of this country. It's unfortunate.
You also mentioned something about the Punguza Zigo bill. I was coming to that. This is a bill that you tabled in 2019 that addresses several issues that Third Way Alliance Party wanted to be amended in the Constitution. But I want us to talk about this specific one that you've mentioned right now, the term of presidency to be extended to 7 years. Now that one to just remain at that point. Have you ever tried now pushing for this much further?
No, you see, the process of constitution, I mean, we pursued what we call the popular initiative under Article 257. Basically, you go to the people, you collect a minimum of 1 million signatures according to the Constitution. And once that is confirmed by IEBC, then the bill goes to the county assemblies for debate. But the sad thing, what happened to that bill is that it was very popular. It still is very popular because people keep on telling me, please bring it back, bring it back. But until we address the question of the political class interfering with anything that is good for the common man, these individuals who are holding the country at ransom, because they are the same people. And I remember it was Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. Ruto was lukewarm. He wasn't so sure which way to, because he had one leg here, one leg there. But the people who came strongly to fight the Punguza Mizigo bill was Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta. You know, who are now lying to Kenyans that they care about this country because of the cost of living, and which is what we actually wanted to reduce, you know, in the Punguza Mizigo bill. Now, on the question of the term of presidency, you know, we considered a number of things, including the history of our country. Political violence, for example. You can see now what is tearing this country up almost apart is because somebody did not get the president and somebody got the presidency. So we said, what is so big thing about this presidency? And we even drew examples. If I asked you now, do you know the president of Switzerland? One of the richest countries in the world. Do you know they have got a 7-member cabinet? The presidency is rotational every year. So you wouldn't even know. This presidency is ceremonial. I remember when he came visiting here, he was just sitting on the floor like the rest of us. He didn't have security. So his business just, okay, there's a UN General Assembly, so he represents the state, and it's rotational among the ministers. Actually, he's a minister. So only time when so in Kenya, we have glorified the presidency so much that now, after, we are not contesting all other elections. Remember, there are 6 elections in this country. President, governor, senator, women rep, MP, and MCA. But you don't see people tearing themselves apart because of those other elections, but the presidency. And you ask yourself, why? The reason is because there are people in this country who have this false self-entitlement that they must be the president. Before Musalia Mudavadi became now the Prime Cabinet Secretary, he used to hold this meeting called, where they're calling Mulembe Nation. It's about our time. It's about our time. It's about our time to do what? The presidency is not yours. Doesn't belong to any tribe in this country. Doesn't belong to any region. It is a constitutional office for Kenya and Kenyans. So in Punguza Mizigo, we really wanted to demystify that. Yeah, because we looked at all, including corruption. In fact, because of this idea that I want to, like you can see now, Ruto is back on the campaign trail. Because he's not even looking into delivering on his political promises. He's now looking at 2027. So why then did you win the presidency? It's a question I ask. So it's just for decoration purposes. It's not serving the people of Kenya. Why don't you serve us? Then at the end of your 5 years, then we can now assess you and say, okay, how did you perform? But that's not their interest. So we wanted to make sure that, let's demystify this presidency. We're giving you one term of 7 years. Perform and go. You will find out that in the first 2 years, and you will see, I'm not a prophet of doom, you will see, in the first 2 years, there'll be no work happening, even right now. Talking about 1 year, they keep on begging, oh, give us time. You know, we just got into office. So they are busy managing political, alignment. They're busy buying MP so that they can control parliament. They can, now there is even talk of controlling the judiciary. I mean, which means, of course, the executive is complete now, from the outlook of it, it's just a it's a gangster executive. So for 2 years, there'll be no work happening. Maybe 1 year, ataanza kufanya kazi, but then it will be in a panic that, oh, we haven't really achieved what we wanted. Then they said last 2 years will be campaign, meaning the presidency has not actually served the people of Kenya. So our philosophy was simple. We'll give you 7 solid years. Don't think of coming back. Work for Kenyans. and hopefully, and we had tied that with the idea of reducing the size of parliament, because parliament size, as we speak, is 400 and what? There are 416 representatives, both Senate and National Assembly, meaning there is really no oversight. And our idea was reduce parliament drastically to a maximum of 100 members of parliament, so that they are able to watch the executive, and they can focus only on three main things: representation, legislate, and oversight government. Yeah. So we take over maendeleo to the grassroots. That's why we propose the idea of the Ward Development Fund at the MCA level. So because that is the only way you can begin to measure even development, even poverty. You know, you don't measure poverty from a macro level. You have to go micro and see what are the people lacking. Is it electricity? Is it water? Is it a road here? Is it a bridge there? You know, those are the things. So once you fix those things at the very lower level there, it is the fastest way, at least, to bring equity, if not the ideal of equality in our country. So that whether you are in Lunga Lunga or Lokichogi or Lokitang or Lamu, so long as you're getting the same services at your very doorstep, like the people in Nairobi, then we are at par. Because the priorities of people, I'm sure there's a word here, I don't know what this word is called, but there's a word here, but I can assure you, the people living here in this Gigiri area, their problem may not be water or electricity. Their problem are other things like maybe security, you know, but somebody down there in a village wants water, wants a health facility, wants a school for their kids, you know. So if we can prioritize those things, then we can quickly change this country. And because I do believe, I mean, I can say I'm lucky enough, I've worked in a number of countries, I've traveled. To be honest with you, I've got one of the best countries in the world with all the resources we need. It's just that we don't get it right up there.
So what do we need to do as a country?
I think, first of all, like I said, change is not easy, but it can also come faster. Of course, through the revolution ways, when people change their mindset. I mean, I remember visiting Tunisia about twice after the revolution, and I just asked a friend, explain to me how this change so happened quickly in Tunisia. And you know, it started with a man called Mohamed Bouazizi. He was a fruit vendor being harassed by equivalent of our kanjos here, and he just said, no, I've had enough of it. I'm tired. And that's when he set himself ablaze, and of course the rest of the country picked. So that was quick change. But change can also come without necessarily violence. And for me, the way I see it in Kenya, we need, first of all, to confront the common narratives that the leadership in this country, or presidency or whatever, we must be the ones from this region that must form the government. We need a change of mindset, the way we see things. And that's a debate that I hope generations such as yours, and I'm assuming that I'm older than you, can actually begin to have amongst yourself. Because so when I look at our children, and the schools they go, the friends they fraternize with, and it's like, okay, what portends for this generation going forward? And it's you guys, your generation, who must now plug in. And I think one of the things that I have observed in my short time trying to play an active political role is that the so-called Kenyan elite educated people, even yourselves at the university level, you all say politics is dirty. No, politics doesn't have to be dirty, because it's from political decisions that now we are talking about the price of unga, the price of sugar. From those political decisions is why now we are talking about whether 500,000 people have missed placement to university, according to the report I saw yesterday. Those are political decisions that are made. So we have to get involved in politics, you know, because our non-participation in politics for the longest time has created a cabal, a political cabal, that now treats the country as if it is their shamba. They have the title, they own the people, you know. So I think we need as many good people as possible, courageous people, to get involved in politics and to participate in political discourse and conversations. If we leave it to this, because right now you can actually see, you can count probably up to 10 people who believe that if they are not up there, you know, they actually drive the narrative in this country, which is false narrative. Yeah. So, for example, I mean, many people do not know that there is a law called Retirement Benefits Act, which takes care of former presidents, vice presidents, former prime minister, CJs, chief justice, and other designated officers. Yeah. Now, one of the conditions in those laws, in that law, is that you can only enjoy the benefits of the Retirement Benefits Act if you are not playing active politics. And Uhuru Kenyatta, in his wisdom then, applied that law against Raila Amolo Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka, because he challenged them, told them, if you don't want to retire with Kibaki, then you will not enjoy the benefits of that act. Until the handshake, that's when their benefits were restored for the last 4 years. And I think Uhuru Kenyatta was right in saying you are actively in politics. Yeah, you want to enjoy because the people of Kenya say to you, thank you for your service as a prime minister, as a former vice president. You served us, so we must take care of you. So even today, Uhuru is back into almost the campaign trail with Raila and all that. But if you look at it, really, what is really the objective? And I've asked myself this question: what really does Raila want? They say they don't want a meeting, but now we know they secretly met with. Me, I'm not surprised. I mean,
With who?
from 2009.
They met with who?
With Ruto in Mombasa. Yeah, I mean, that's when Obasanjo is the one who convened that meeting. So I'm not surprised. In fact, what surprises me is that Kenyans are surprised that they actually met. But you see, this is just gang. The way Kenya today is being driven, it reminds me of those stories of mafiosos in New York. You know, the mafiosos will agree, hey, you know, that region is yours. I will not touch it, but don't touch. If I need passage, then you have to pay me for passage. It's almost like that. I mean, is it yesterday, the day before yesterday, I was in a show at K24 show, and my good friend Professor Ogola had a very preposterous suggestion that we should consider paying off Raila so that he doesn't disturb the country. I mean, imagine we've reached there where we're now saying, okay, I think you're a nuisance. Can we just pay you?
Is he really disturbing the government, the country, or is he doing his job?
What is his job?
Opposition at the moment.
First of all, he doesn't have a job called opposition, but it is his right as a Kenyan to speak to call the government to account, just like all of us are doing in our own small way. But I think you have to maybe balance. For example, I have absolutely nothing against exercise of Article 37, the right to demonstrate, to picket and all that. But the language in the Constitution is also very clear. You can demonstrate, picket, but peaceably. But some of the images we have seen, really, can you say that's peace? Are those demonstrations peaceful? Let's draw parallels. Let's compare, for example, the demonstration in South Africa by EFF, say maybe the equivalent of ODM here. It's like a celebration. It's music and dance. Guys are dancing, even the cops actually escorting them. But now, even if you compare it with Kenya, we've seen images, we've seen police brutality, going into people's homes and actually shooting people. I understand so far 50 plus people have died. We saw the destruction of the expressway. I mean, okay, what has the expressway got to do with the cost of unga? You know, even if we destroy. I mean, don't Kenyans realize that we destroy such facility, we are the ones who will still pay because it's from our taxes. Yeah. So the problem is, I see, the country is not being given the right direction, both from opposition and and that's why for me I'll remain a third way, because I think we need an alternative for this country.
Now, you mentioned something about the cost of living. It will not be brought down, and they're just talking. Maybe in 1 year they'll wake up and now they'll try and do some things in between. Now, the government is on record saying that in 2 years' time, the cost of living will come down. Isn't there hope now from your state?
So the government is also changing goalposts. Now, remember, now they are begging for 2 years. That wasn't the campaign messaging. The campaign messaging was, tukieka Biblia chini, you know, things will happen. It's like miracles will happen. And to some extent, Kenyans bought this because they saw, okay, this guy is not really new in government. He's been around. So he's been a minister for agriculture. He's been a minister for education. He's been a vice president for 10 years. You know, so obviously, there's an extent to which you can say, okay, let me give him the benefit of doubt. and which is why some of us voted for him. But now it turns out you are not telling us, oh, give us time, or if you want to whip us, our buttocks are ready for whipping. I mean, according to Gachagua. So now you see, you start talking like that. So we can now confirm, oh, so you are lying to us all along. But I like this because now I'm hoping it is awakening Kenyans. Kenyans are now beginning to actually question these characters. You know, I'm just praying that is exactly what's happening.
Right. Now, I want us now to talk about Third Way Alliance Party. You mentioned yourself that Third Way Alliance Party is a small one. What's holding you back from joining forces now with the two active coalitions? Maybe with this, I presume, your voices will be heard and the voices of the communities you're representing will be heard when it comes to inclusivity. Now in the
you see, it is their style of leadership. When we conceptualize the idea of a third way, by the way, third way does not just mean number three. It's a deep academic concept. Yeah? It's a deep academic concept. And many successful leaders in the world have actually successfully governed their countries using the concept of third way. You know, so you know, as you know very well that you always have these extremes called far left, far right. But people like Tony Blair during his time in the UK consider the concept of the third way, the middle between the far extremes. Bill Clinton governed using that. Barack Obama governed using that concept of the middle way, third way, as people call it. Now, we looked at the history of this country and the people driving what you can say the political history of this country. They're the same. If I can use this phrase, same monkeys, different forests. Because that's what they are. Now, you want us to join either of these monkeys to continue lying to Kenyans. And we just change the forest. See, a monkey will remain a monkey. Hata ukimvalisha sutu mlete hapa Runda, still a monkey. Umpeleke CBD in Kenya, will still be a monkey. Umpeleke, still a monkey. So if you look at these characters, they are the same people. At some point, they are together. Because let's just deconstruct now the two extremes. Who hasn't been in government from the two extremes? Almost at the same time. If you look at the coalition government, they're all there. If you look at what do we now call the handshake government, they're all there. So we believe that, and we are being realists here. Our realism is that in Kenya today, you have extremes being driven by certain individuals, because they plug in tribe they come from, they plug in money. We don't believe in that style of leadership at Third Way Alliance Kenya. I wish I could see some update on these are the milestones we have achieved so far, even a status report for the country. These are the implications of the finance. There is no explanation to Kenyans of the actions we are taking. Because, for example, President William Ruto cannot lie to Kenyans that the Finance Act is supposed to stabilize the economy. Yeah? When he signed that law, did he not know that it was increasing his tax by between 7 to 14% in their salaries, including that of member of Parliament? And none of them raised that issue. Why? Because it's benefiting them, but it's hurting the common mwananchi.
Thank you so much for making time for us. Like I had said, that is the Third Way Alliance Party leader, Dr. Ukuru Okot. We are in his residence right here in Gigiri to talk about the state of the nation.
This is not my residence, office.
His office, I beg your pardon. We are here to talk about the state of the nation like you have, and thank you so much for watching.
All right, there you have it, the Third Way take. So we are taking a very short break at this point. We are coming back with more. Stay with us.
Now, mouth cleaning is a part of oral hygiene, which entails various processes such as brushing your teeth at home or also teeth cleaning by a dental hygienist.
Removing dental plaque that has accumulated on your teeth. This dental is that accumulation of a thin layer that over time calcifies, brings about what we call tartar in layman's language. Professionally, we call it calculus and all that. It calcifies, causes gum issues, it causes gingivitis, which is bleeding gums, mobility of tooth.
We are coming to you from Bright Smile Center, where they keep your smiles bright all day, every day.
You need to look for high quality friends.
I'm from Kingston, Jamaica, you know, Portmore. That's my lineage.
Kanga kichini hapo ukinyepia ukikatia mademu akipita.
Sinaweza saa hii nimekuja kukopesa choo.
Kipindi hewani ni mitindo ya kipwani. Kama ilivyo kipindi hiki kinahusu nyimbo za tarab, chakacha, midwara, midundiko, bila kusahau mapishi. Ambao ndio uti wa mgongo wa pwani ya Afrika Mashariki.
Jamani swaibu zangu mliopo maskani, hatuonani wenzangu, najua mwanitamani.
Hapa KUTV, nahodha mwendesha chombo cha baharini, yani ua linalunukia na kuvutia waridi tamu.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Let's continue with our coverage. Thika border operators have vowed to collaborate with security officers to smoke out bad characters stealthily penetrating the sector, tainting their reputation with criminal activities. According to the association's chairman, they will no longer tolerate riders who are not registered with any SACCO to operate a border as part of putting the border sector in line. Take a look.
Thika border operators have vowed to collaborate with authorities to smoke out bad characters from the sector. Speaking during a joint meeting with the Thika West Sub-County Security Team, the border operators chairman James Mburu said that they will not allow unregistered border riders to venture into the business in Thika due to the difficulty in tracing them in case they commit crimes. Mburu says that the collaboration with police have yielded substantial results.
Watu tumeona ni wale watu ambao hawajarejista na any sako ya bodaboda ambao ukiangalia pale nyuma wako na tustika wamejiwekea to private na hao ndio wanafanya uhalifu, lakini sisi through our security team, through OCS na viongozi wote tumepanga na tukaonelea venye tutakuwa tukiwaondoa, na kusema kweli so far ni wengi tumeshika.
Addressing the press after the meeting, Thika West Assistant County Commissioner Milton Osia said the security team will not allow criminals masquerading as border operators to thrive in Thika. He also sent a stern warning to those collaborating with police to transport and sell narcotics and illicit brew to members of the public.
Sisi tungependa kuwaomba ushirikiano wenu wa kikamilifu. Tufanye kazi ya usalama kwa pamoja kwa ushirikiano. Ukiona biashara haramu inaendezwa mahali, piga ripoti kwa serikali ili tuweze kumdhibiti biashara ya madawa ya kulevya na pombe haramu katika Thika.
Traffic Police Department Representative Susan Joki urged border operators to report any strange border operators to the authorities. She hailed the good working relationship between a security team and border operators, saying that with a unity of purpose, it will be hard for criminals to thrive.
Tumeongea na wao na wameshirikiana, hata wao wakiona mtu mgeni mwenye si wa sako hawafai kumuentertain kwa hiyo sako yao ama kubeba area yao. So tumewafunza vile ukiwa kwa sako inajulikana namba na sako iko kwa pikipiki, in case of anything inajulikana ni mtu ya sako fulani.
The border sector is grappling with a series of crimes, with the government putting in measures to curb the crimes within the industry. Julie Ongaki, KUTV.
Right now in the world of sports, the 2022 Wimbledon doubles junior champion Angela Okutoi has her eyes set on Kenya Open tournament scheduled to kick off next week at Nairobi Sports Club. Fresh from winning the International Tennis Federation ITF World's Women's 15th tournament in Tunisia on Sunday, Okutoi will be looking to win her second Kenya Open title after scooping the crown in 2018. The tournament returns after a 4-year hiatus due to a lack of sponsors and the COVID-19 pandemic. That brings us to the end of our bulletin tonight. Many thanks indeed for keeping us company. I'm looking forward to seeing you again right here next week with me, inshallah. My name is ODIDA. I'm in the company of Ivan Sudhyambo, who is our sign language interpreter tonight. Have yourself a good night.